Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm excited to have you here today. Today's presentation is all about how to take things slow in relationships. We'll explore practical tips and insights to help you build stronger, more meaningful connections. So, let's get started and discover how patience can make all the difference. Taking things slow is something we often hear as advice in relationships, and it's easier said than done. We all want a healthy, steady, and intentional connection, right? But then, the moment chemistry sparks, we tend to speed things up, lose our way a bit, and sometimes even run into emotional chaos. So, what does it really mean to take things slow? Why is it so valuable? And how can we do it without losing the spark or hurting our partner? That's what we're going to break down step by step. First, let's clarify what taking things slow really means. It's not about pushing someone away or being cold. It's about being deliberate. It's about setting a pace that allows the relationship to grow naturally. For example, at the beginning, you might limit how much time you spend together. Maybe you don't jump into constant texting or oversharing your feelings right away. It's about allowing intimacy to develop gradually, rather than rushing into deep emotional or physical closeness too quickly. This approach gives the relationship space to grow organically, rather than forcing closeness before it's ready. It's the opposite of impulsive attachment, which can often lead to burnout or disappointment. Instead, taking things slow is a conscious choice to build something real, something lasting, something grounded. It's about making sure that the connection is built on a solid foundation, not just the rush of chemistry. So, in essence, it's about being intentional, patient, and mindful as you develop your relationship. So, why does taking things slow matter? You might think, if you like each other, why not dive in head first? Well, rushing into a relationship, even if it feels exciting and sweet, can actually put you at emotional risk you're not quite ready for. First, let's talk about emotional investment. When you spend a lot of time together and start to escalate intimacy quickly, it can create this illusion of closeness. But the truth is, you might not really know each other on a deep level yet. Instead, you're kind of emotionally intoxicated, caught up in the excitement. And then, if things don't work out, the heartbreak hits twice as hard because you've given so much of yourself too soon. Next, rushing can distort your self-worth. When you're trying to speed up connection, it's easy to slip into being a people pleaser, thinking things like, whatever you want is fine, or I just want to make you happy, or it's okay, you choose everything. While it might seem like a way to build closeness, it actually erases your sense of identity. A partner can't truly love you if they don't see who you really are. And finally, speed creates resentment. When you rush into a relationship, you might neglect your friends, drop hobbies, and sacrifice your personal goals. Over time, your partner might become your entire world, and that's unfair to both of you. The relationship starts to feel like your only source of fulfillment, which puts a lot of pressure on your partner. Resentment can grow on both sides, and that's something we definitely want to avoid. So, taking things slow helps protect your emotional well-being, keeps your self-identity intact, and fosters healthier, more balanced connections. Taking things slow isn't just about avoiding pain. It's actually a powerful way to build a stronger, more meaningful love. When we rush into things, it often creates chaos, like becoming unreliable with commitments or introducing someone to our family before really knowing them. We might even sacrifice routines that keep us grounded. But if we slow down, it allows us to naturally blend our lives without disrupting what truly matters. Another key benefit is that taking it slow helps us distinguish between real connection and chemical attraction. You see, attention, validation, and sex all release chemicals like dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin. These can make us feel bonded, but that doesn't always mean the connection is genuine. Giving ourselves time clarifies whether we genuinely like someone or if we're just addicted to the feeling they give us. It also helps us understand what they truly bring into our lives, beyond those fleeting chemicals. And finally, slowing down allows us to catch red flags early on. When a relationship moves too fast, momentum can cloud our judgment, making it harder to pause, reflect, or question what's really happening. Taking things slow gives us the space to notice patterns, inconsistencies, or deal breakers before they turn into heartbreak. It's about protecting ourselves and making mindful choices as we build something real. Now, let's talk about how to tell your partner that you want to slow down. This is often the hardest part because many people avoid it, hoping the other person will just understand. But the truth is, without clear communication, slowing down can feel like rejection, which is not what we want. So you need to say it out loud. A simple, honest phrase like, "I want us to take things slow," can make a huge difference. Then, it's important to explain your reasons. You might tell him that you don't want to get hurt again, that you value your independence, or that you want to really get to know him before committing deeply. These reasons help set the context and make your intentions clear. But it's equally important to listen. Ask him what he wants, what he fears, and what his expectations are. This kind of open dialogue can often shift the relationship into a healthier, more intentional space. It's about building understanding and mutual respect from the start. Now, if having this conversation isn't enough, you might need to set some simple boundaries. Think of it as establishing ground rules. For example, limit how many days a week you spend together, avoid sleepovers until you feel emotionally ready, or slow down physical intimacy if it's creating too much attachment too quickly. Also, resist excessive texting or constant digital contact. That can sometimes push too fast. But remember, slowing down doesn't mean cold or distant. It's about staying affectionate, warm, and responsive. You're not building distance, you're actually laying a solid foundation for something lasting and meaningful. Let's talk about the role of sex when taking things slow. You see, sex can really accelerate emotional intensity. For some people, that's something they can handle comfortably. But for others, it can lead to instant attachment that might overwhelm their ability to think clearly and make rational decisions. So I want you to ask yourself a few questions. Does sex bond me too quickly? Do I find it hard to separate physical intimacy from emotional dependence? Am I using sex as a way to validate the relationship? There's no right or wrong answer here, only honesty with yourself. If you notice that sex causes you to fall quickly, then slowing things down in the early stages can actually help protect your emotional well-being. On the other hand, if you're comfortable with intimacy, it's still possible to build closeness while allowing other parts of the relationship to develop at a steady pace. The key point is understanding your own signals and boundaries. Taking things slow doesn't mean shutting down intimacy, but it helps ensure that emotional connections grow in a healthy, balanced way. So, as we come to the final thoughts, I want to emphasize that taking things slow isn't about putting love on hold or delaying happiness. It's really about protecting the love you're building. When you approach a relationship with intention rather than impulse, you're more likely to create something genuine and lasting. Taking that time helps safeguard your sense of identity, your freedom, and your emotional health. It allows space for desire and curiosity to grow naturally, rather than forcing or rushing those feelings. And in the end, this patience leads to stronger, more sustainable relationships that can withstand the challenges of time. Before you jump in or rush ahead, I encourage you to ask yourself a simple but powerful question. Does this relationship add something meaningful to my life? Or am I just rushing toward connection because I'm afraid of being still, of being alone with myself? Your honest answer to that question is incredibly revealing. It will tell you everything you need to know about whether you're moving forward for the right reasons and whether it's truly the right fit. So, trust yourself, take your time, and remember that meaningful love is worth the patience.